Okay, so get ready because today we're diving into some seriously juicy stuff. We're talking about sex, status, and that age-old question of why we humans will sometimes care way too much about what other people think.
It's all about evolutionary psychology today. We're going to
Yeah.
be connecting those dots between what we find attractive in other people.
You heard right. We're going way back to those primal drives that have shaped human behavior forever. We're diving into evolutionary psychology lectures, research. Trust me, you're about to see the whole dating game in a whole new light by the end of this.
Just to be clear, when we say this, we're talking about those broad patterns that we see. Obviously, we're not talking about ironclad rules here.
Yeah.
Human behavior is complicated.
Totally. But even just understanding those patterns, it's seriously eye-opening. It's like when you're craving a donut, right? On the surface, it's, oh, yum, sugar, deliciousness. But underneath that, there's this whole primal drive for calorie-dense foods.
Exactly. You just hit on the whole proximate versus ultimate cause thing.
Write that down for me.
So that's the proximate cause. It's that immediate trigger. But the ultimate cause, the thing that we don't even realize is going on most of the time, is that ancient drive to get those calories, to survive.
It's not just that donuts are amazing, which, let's be real, they are. But our ancestors were really onto something with this whole deep-fried dough thing. How does this whole proximate versus ultimate cause thing apply to finding a partner?
Think about this, right?
Yeah.
Why do we find baby pictures so irresistible?
Okay, because they're adorable.
Exactly. Cuteness overload.
Yeah.
But the ultimate cause, the reason we're wired to react that way, is to make sure our species survives. It's those caregiving instincts that those pictures trigger.
It's all connected.
It really is.
Wow, that's actually mind-blowing. Our brains are playing all these games with us and we don't even realize it. But how does this proximate versus ultimate cause thing, how does that actually play out when we're looking for a partner?
For example, it helps us understand why we might be drawn to certain traits. Research suggests that both men and women care about status in a partner. But how we compete for status and what we see as attractive can be totally different between sexes.
It's 2024, not the Stone Age. We're not all out here hunting mammoth.
It's not about cavemen and all that.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is how these evolutionary pressures, they've shaped what we find attractive.
So it's like our preferences today, they're influenced by what made sense for survival way back when.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wild.
We always hear about how men are attracted to a wider range of partners and women tend to be more selective.
Is that the whole thing about men wanting to spread their genes as far and wide as possible, and women are over here carefully guarding their precious eggs?
There's a theory for that. It's called parental investment theory.
Okay, tell me more.
It says that the sex that invests more in their offspring, and in humans, that's usually women, pregnancy, childbirth, breastfeeding, the list goes on, that sex gets to be choosier when it comes to picking a partner.
Because they're putting more on the line.
It's like having this high-stakes bank account, right?
Right.
And ladies, you're the ones bringing millions to the table.
Millions in commitment and care. So women can be picky because, biologically speaking, they're making a much bigger investment.
And guys, this is where it gets interesting for you. There's this evolutionary psychologist, David Buss. He said this great thing. The mating preferences of one sex set the ground rules of competition in the opposite sex.
What does that mean for guys who are looking for love today?
What it means is that men, often, whether they realize it or not, strive for what they think women want. They're performing for an audience.
If guys want to understand what women find attractive, they need to understand the evolutionary reasons behind those preferences.
Exactly.
All right, so to really dig into this, let's have a little fun. We're going to analyze a classic Disney song through this evolutionary lens. Get ready for Prince Ali, everybody.
All right, so let's break down this whole magic carpet ride. Jeannie, he really goes all out, showcasing Prince Ali's assets.
Oh, he's giving us a masterclass in evolutionary psychology, but with more musical numbers.
First, you got that grand entrance. Genuflect, show some respect, down on one knee. The guy arrives on a bejeweled elephant, showering everyone with gold.
It's all about status and resources. Even in ancient Agrabah, you got to think that sent a pretty clear message. It's like those luxury car ads we see today. You ever notice how they always feature attractive people? Maybe there's an evolutionary reason for that, too.
Research has shown, time and time again, that a man's economic success, it's a major factor for women, even today.
Are those car companies tapping into something primal?
Maybe they are.
Genie doesn't stop there. He also makes sure to mention Prince Ali's strength. Strong as 10 regular men. Definitely not exaggerating.
He was onto something. There's actually research that suggests that physical strength It really matters. Maybe even more than just basic attractiveness. Yeah.
It's not just about having a nice face. It's about looking like you could take on a tiger.
Back in the day, a partner's strength could literally be the difference between life or death. Protection from predators, rivals, you name it.
It's like those nature documentaries where the male lion with the biggest mane gets all the ladies.
Exactly. It's a signal of strength, protection. But remember, Prince Ali wasn't just about the bling and the brawn. Before all that fanfare, what does he do? He gives his only piece of bread to those kids.
Oh, yeah. And he rescues Jasmine from that creepy vendor. He's showing kindness, willing to help others.
Research consistently shows that kindness is one of the most desirable traits across cultures. It's not just about being nice. It speaks to empathy, caregiving potential.
Those are qualities that would make someone a good partner, a good parent.
Exactly.
So Jeannie's hitting all these important evolutionary cues: status, strength, kindness. It's fascinating. It makes you wonder, what would a modern-day Jeannie highlight? A Tesla instead of an elephant?
Maybe.
The underlying principles, those would probably stay the same.
Okay, so Jeannie's laying it on pretty thick with these grand gestures, but we all know real-life attraction. It's not always about showing up on a magic carpet with a marching band.
Right.
Sometimes it's those subtle signals that make all the difference.
You're talking about those honest signals.
So what are those exactly?
Traits or behaviors that are hard to fake, tell you something real about a person's character, and offer valuable clues about a potential partner's deeper qualities.
Give me an example. How do these honest signals actually play out in the real world of dating? Okay, so imagine this. Anyone can say they're adventurous, right? But someone who actually says, hey, I'm planning this hike next weekend, want to come?
Yeah.
That's an honest signal.
Because they're not just talking,
Exactly.
walking the walk.
When it comes to choosing a mate, those honest signals can be incredibly attractive.
Instead of just saying, I'm a good listener,
Yeah.
a real honest signal would be remembering something you said weeks ago.
Precisely. When we're talking about mate selection, those honest signals, they can be incredibly powerful. For example, a doctor's degree. That's a much stronger signal of ambition and intelligence than, say, winning the lottery.
Anyone can get lucky with a scratch-off ticket.
Exactly.
Earning a medical degree takes years of dedication and hard work.
It's a clear signal. It says, I'm willing to put in the work.
Hey, I'm not afraid of commitment.
Exactly. And that suggests perseverance, commitment, qualities that would have been essential for survival and raising a family.
Actions speak louder than words.
100%.
What other honest signals should we be looking out for in the dating world?
We've been talking a lot about male strategies, but female competition, that's just as fascinating and often way more subtle.
We tend to think of competition as this masculine thing.
Right.
Give us an example. How do women compete?
Okay, so there was this interesting study. Researchers asked women to sketch outfits for 2 different events. One event was going to have both men and women, and the other event was going to be ladies only.
What'd they find?
When men were going to be around, the outfits the women sketched were way more revealing.
Oh, interesting.
For the women-only event, they chose much more modest attire.
It's almost like they're speaking a secret language through their clothing choices.
Look at me, I'm attractive. Versus, don't worry, I'm not a threat.
It's wild how these dynamics play out. And speaking of subtle signals and female competition, we got to talk about the bless her heart effect.
The art of throwing shade with a smile.
Like saying, oh, honey, I'm so worried about Jane. She's been bringing home so many guys from Tinder lately. Bless her heart. She just doesn't seem to have any luck finding a nice one. What's actually going on there?
It sounds like they're worried. But underneath all that, it's often a way of subtly saying, hey, maybe she's not such a great catch after all.
And it's often tied to a woman's perceived sexual behavior. They're signaling their own virtue,
Right.
their fidelity, their discretion, while at the same time casting doubt on another woman's choices. And all under the guise of concern. That's some seriously strategic stuff.
It's amazing how competition can work in these really indirect ways. It makes you wonder, is it always meant to be mean? Or could it be a way for women to navigate these tricky social situations?
Is it always about putting someone else down, or is it sometimes about protecting yourself? We've been talking a lot about status and attraction. But what about those other qualities? Kindness, generosity, are those just nice bonuses? Or is there an evolutionary reason we're drawn to those too?
Those qualities are huge. Remember those hungry children Aladdin helped. Turns out those acts of generosity, they can be powerful signals. Research has shown that men, they're actually more likely to give to charity when they're being watched by women, and even more so if the woman collecting the donations, if she's attractive.
So it's like they're saying, hey, look at me, I'm a generous guy, husband material right here.
It's all about signaling those attractive qualities, the ability to provide, to protect.
Qualities that would have been super important throughout history.
Exactly.
And it's not just grand gestures, right? Even something as simple as a dog photo can make a difference. Did you know that men who include photos of themselves with dogs in their dating profiles get way more likes than those who go solo, or even those who pose with cats?
Dogs, with all the walks and the playtime and the attention they need, they're seen as higher maintenance than cats. So that dog photo,
Yeah.
it could be a signal that you're patient, responsible, maybe even ready for commitment,
Those furry friends, they're like wingmen.
something like that.
It all comes back to those honest signals, right? Showing, not just telling. It makes you wonder, what other subconscious cues do we use to figure each other out?
It's amazing to think about how these ancient drives, they're still shaping us,
Yeah.
even in this day and age, with dating apps and social media.
It's like our brains are still running on this ancient software, even though we live in a digital world. If our ancestors could see the dating scene today, the apps, the profiles, all the ways we present ourselves online,
It'd be a whole new world for them.
would they recognize it?
Would they see it as this totally foreign thing?
Or would they see those same patterns?
Drives for connection, for status.
The same desire to pass on our genes? Are we really that different from those ancient humans?
Yes, isn't it?
It's something to ponder as you navigate the wilds of love and romance. This has been The Deep Dive. Keep exploring, everyone.